change those systems. It ain't us. So forgive me or don't forgive me, but the thing is, it ain't about you. It's about me. It's about what would I wish for my children to not have to deal with. And that was just to clarify that point for people.
Okay. For those who don't understand, fuck you, then it wasn't about you. But sorry, not
From the
sorry.
poet, Marlon.
Yeah.
Well,
Keeping it real in the
hey,
streets.
all of this. Never mind. I'll get into it again. So never mind. Moving on.
Susan asked a question. If you want to
I have a question. Who is the artist or your intermission background? I feel like I should know what that name is. So the lyrics is written by James Weedon Johnson in the 1900s. The music is by John Roseman Johnson
What's this song called?
in 1905.
Lift every voice and sing. It's the Black National Anthem.
It's the Black National Anthem.
It's the Negro National Anthem.
Okay.
Who the Negro? Who the Negro?
That's what the song called. No, it's not. It's the Negro National Anthem. That's what he called it. He called it.
And Anna, I'm telling you now.
Because back then we were called Negroes.
I'm telling you now. If you sing the song, you're gonna cry every time.
Sure will.
That's why I listen to the song and I listen to them sing, and I'm like,
all you gotta do is think about what they saying.
Boy, if I read those words,
you gone
and sing it.
Well, let's be honest.
I was over here boo-hooing last time.
Yeah, I can get through the first verse. And I can get through the first verse only because I'm stigmatized by it because I sung it so much as a young child in church in Black History Week, not month.
No, we sing it all the time. It was part of our
Yeah, so I'm used to the first. Man, you get me to that second and third verse.
It's the fourth verse for me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not. But it's a wonderful, inspirational. We here. I don't care if you don't like it. You and your mama. I don't care. Now, what?
About me.
But I didn't put an explicative in there.
Hey, sometimes.
No, but yeah, it's a beautiful song that it always makes me cry because it makes me think of the ancestors who I owe everything to. I know some people don't do it. Like my boy got on me one day when I was talking about how I honor the ancestors, and he was like, "No," because he's really into the Christian thing. He's like, "I don't know ancestors. This is God and Jesus." And I'm like, "All right, cool, bro. You do your way, I do mine. I honor the ancestors. I recognize the ghost that's in the machine. That's my walk. That's my life, and I'm hearing the pain." And I'm also hearing the hope. You see? And I'm also hearing the cry out to God to hear your people who are suffering. Keep us strong. Help us continue in this thing. See, one of the things I think has definitely been lost within the culture is we have become so Negropean that we are very, very individualized. The difference between movements today, in my opinion, movements today and movements that preceded us, as people were in these movements and they were in such a desperate situation, they were in such a dark place, but they were full of hope that only faith in God can help you see that type of faith and hope. And they were willing to fight, suffer, and die for something that they themselves had zero hope of actually having for themselves.
Yep.
None of it was for them. They were sitting at that food counter, not because they wanted rights, it's because they want their children to have rights. They were escaping the plantations, not just because they wanted freedom, but because they wanted to be able to come back and get their people out of bondage. And if they couldn't do it, well, maybe if I have a child, my child won't be born under this. So that's the beauty of these things. And I feel like we've lost so much of that because we have a story of always trying to outrun our pain. And I'm like, it's time to stop running. It's time to stand up, turn around, and handle business. But I know that segment of the show is over, so I apologize.
So you look at Black history, civil rights movement. They're not passing down wealth. They fought and fought and fought just to pass down humanity.
Yep.
Just to pass down their rights.
See, Stokely Carmichael said it so well.
I cried one doggone time during that doggone song, and now, man.
Hey, you could have just played the Kirk Franklin version. That was less crying. I didn't cry one time in that.
No, I'm not gonna do it. No. Going to Kirk Franklin, you ain't got to remix every freaking song.
Yeah, but that was a good version. I mean, it was good. It wasn't the first one. The one I sent you, I was like, do this one. Hey, he did that one part in church that everybody knows. Everybody knows the first verse of that song. Don't know the rest of the three, but they know that one. They know the one verse.
Well, yeah, because I know it. Like I said, when growing up, we had Black History Week. So we celebrated Black History Week. And we saw that song that whole week. And I think I really want to think that we did sing that song that whole month. And I got to the first verse and we stopped.
And then everybody goes, the whole way through.
We got that second choir. That's how it is for every song.
I know.
No, it's not. No. People be knowing in terms of church hymns, nobody thinks, hey, they got choir books right there. Pick it up and just go with it.
But those choir books are usually in your AME and your old school Baptist churches. They are not in most churches.
I was at old school.
Of course, nowadays they got the TV screen.
So. Yeah, they got the big old TV screen. Don't think to look up.
It was traditional Baptist churches. And we always had the red book that had all of that. And that
the red Baptist hymn.
Yeah. And for the life of me, don't take this as gospel because I'm really not particularly sure. But I may have memorized that because that was probably the only part in it. So when I started researching and looking at it and go, wait a minute,
it's 4 verses? What?
How is this possible?
It totally messed up.
But in my book that I've been growing up on, we sung that one verse.
That's the only verse people knew. Nobody thought, hey, let's go down to the second verse. Let's go down to the third one. Let's do the fourth one.
But that's how it is, though. I mean, think about it. Because usually things are moving along, and we don't sing the entire 5 verses. That's when you go to those old school churches and make you sing the entire song. But
see, that's what I grew up in. We all
if you
5 verses.
Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty.
Boy, that's long.
That's not a short song.
That's your reading. I'm like, okay, come on now. How great that are. One of my favorites. But that's a long song. I'm like, how many verses is in this book?
What was you going through when you wrote?
I mean, it's better than the songs nowadays. 3 words and 25 ad libs. Nah.
Thank you. That's why I don't like gospel music. I don't like gospel music. Gospel music today ain't number one long hook. It's all you singing is chorus. I can't do it. But anyway,
what did I hear in the Foxy? What was the song that we listened to today that you was telling me what's the original song? Joyful, joyful. Joyful, joyful, we adore.
Yeah.
Do you know how bad it is that I have to explain to my wife of almost 20 years what was the beat of the original song? It ain't none of what you listening to.
Sure ain't.
It ain't none of that.
None
of them had a rap song in the middle of it.
3, and that was a terrible rap. That was a terrible. Let me say that. That was a terrible Sister Act. That was a terrible. That's what made me not like rap music. That right there, I'm like, oh no, this is terrible. This is terrible.
I've been out to church so long, I don't remember half of it no more.
No, but you saw Sister Act 2. I'm talking about the rap in Sister Act 2.
Oh, I didn't like Sister Act 2 that much.
What? It was better than the first one.
Did. I didn't really get into any of the Sister Acts, but I know people were talking about it because that's when they found out who Lauryn Hill was.
No, that was Sister
Lauryn Hill was in the second one.
Fossey said it was in 2. It was Sister Act 2 because that's when they had the competition.
Yeah, Shirley Ralph was in it.
They brought
she didn't want Lauryn Hill to sing. And that's when she was on time for stuff and didn't leave her fans.
What's old girl that was in the movie?
Concert.
Lauryn Hill was.
Gotta let that hurt go, Tracy. Gotta let that hurt go.
Like, man, but the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, one of the best. I'm like, why? I would just go to hear that.
But what I was gonna say is like, but what we were talking about was like people not knowing the whole song. Think about is it the national anthem? Is that the one? Where like the third verse is all about slaves, right?
Don't nobody know that verse too?
Yeah, y'all.
But when they heard about the verse about the slaves,
because I remember school. And
now I learned all 3 verses. That's why I never sang it.
In school. So Anna, this is what they told us in school about the Star Spangled Banner. That there was a battle going on, and Francis Scott Key saw the bombs bursted in air, and it made him want to write that. No, it didn't. Go to the not even the second, the third verse.
The third is the worst verse.
Cringy.
The whole song is terrible. I mean, if you're gonna pick a national song, go with "America the Beautiful." I mean, that's a lie, but it's better than the Star Spangled Banner. That's a terrible song.
But when you're talking about the propaganda, talking about the propaganda of America, that's not what they're doing. They're going back on the nostalgia, the rose-colored glasses. How do I feel? Right? Like you hear the "Make America Great Again." We all know they're talking about the 50s, right? So it's the problem is when you take the idealism and then you go and you're so rude as to put reality in front of them.
Yeah, how dare you say that?
They can't handle that.
Oh, wait a minute. What you mean the 50s wasn't great for black people? It wasn't. We were getting our heads smashed in at counters. That just wasn't great. When was America great?
People are pouring bleach in the swimming pool so we couldn't swim in the water. I mean,
even if they was to acknowledge that is true. Even if they was to acknowledge,
well, I would never do that.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah, but it happened. But what is always the next statement afterwards? That was a long time ago.
Oh gosh, shut up.
Yeah, there's always a long time ago when it's somebody else. Yep. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So that's why I tell people stop being mad. You should already be mad, right? I mean, also, so not stop being mad, but stop being new mad. You should already be mad. You should be so angry as James Baldwin kind of intoned. You should always be angry. Like, how do you live in this country that we love? So this is our home, but you're in love with an alcoholic father. You're in love with an abusive spouse. You're in love with someone who tells you on one hand they love you and beats you every time they have a bad day. That's America. That's why when you look at people and they're talking about how can you be so mad and so you don't love America like I love America, because we ain't in the same damn America, bro.
We sure not. And apparently
yeah, I'm sorry, Trace.
No, I was just saying that apparently this struggle for reparations is going on in other countries. I mean, I knew about England. That's where we learned it from. But I didn't know about Spain and you can't even say you're sorry. Are you serious?
Because if they say they're sorry, this is why America doesn't want to do it. If you say I'm sorry, now you've taken ownership and responsibility, and it strengthens the case of the people against you to get something out of you. So think about what happened with Haiti, right? So they run off, the whole Western world has attacked Haiti. All of them. America, France, all of them. England, all of them. And when they finally decided, whoa, we can't, these people fight too much. We can't beat them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to let them go ahead and have their independence, right? Grudgingly, because this is like all the way into the 50s or something. We're going to grudgingly let them have their independence. But then we're going to say, you got to pay us for being free. Yeah. You owe us for all the stuff that we don't have no more because you don't want to be slaves no more, right? Where'd they get that from? They got it from the United States of America, who told the slaves, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, you free, but see, now that you're free, these people are going to be poor. See, these people were rich when you were slaves, and now that they're not,
Yeah,
you got to understand how they feel. You're making life hard for them by you.
See, y'all making me want to forget. I'm like, look, I know I went to church today. I was right there. Oh,
but I'm saying, that's the logic. The logic is like, because think about it. In that time, who could vote? Even in that time, the people who could vote were white people. Well, you just pissed off. You went to war with them first. Then you beat them. Then you set the slaves free. Then you gave the slaves some of their land.
Then took it back.
These are voters. You done pissed off a lot of voters. So they're like, all right, you're right. We don't want none of y'all to really suffer. The war was bad enough for you.
Let's wheel it back.
We're going to pay you back. We're going to pay you back. And then not only that, not only are we going to pay you back, all right, well, we're going to hang out here for a little while. Right? We're going to put up the Freedmen's Bureau. We're going to hang out here for a little while so you don't, do the black folk too bad. And then another deal had to be made. And the Freedmen's Bureau was disbanded. The federal government pulls out the South, turns their back on the South altogether. And now you're right back where you were.
Yeah.
Now we sharecropping and prison labor. So it's like America is always going to take care of its white people. That's what it does. But what that created is a situation where white people are accustomed to being taken care of, to the point that they don't even know they're being taken care of. So it feels like, it feels like you're taking something from them when you say, But possession is what, 9/10 of the law, according to their law. According to their law.
Which is really not even a law, but go ahead.
Yeah, because I said that to somebody a few times. I was like, hey, at what point does something stolen no longer is, at what point is something that was stolen no longer stolen? To my knowledge, once it's stolen, it's always stolen.
It's always stolen.
Until it's returned back to its original owner.
Possession is 9/10 of the law. That's not a real law, dude. That's never
right. But real law. Finders, keepers, losers, weavers, the victor, goes and spoils, blah, 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 blah. All ways of saying, if you want to, come take it from me. Otherwise, I own it now. Right? So it's that philosophy. On one side, we're sitting here saying you don't have a bill of sale. You do not have rights to this thing. This was not a negotiated situation. You literally cheated, stealed, murdered, killed to get this thing. And on the other side, they're like, but I have it now.
And you can't, I'm gonna make it sure you're gonna never take it.
You want me to, this is the same argument that had America pay reparations to former enslavers, is the same argument that is being used to keep reparations from happening. And that is, who are we going to take it from? And how are they going to feel? Same argument.
Got me fucked up.
You know, Marlon. Now,
but here's the point, though. But the point to that, though, is we can't go into it as hard-hearted as I want to be. I look at things and I say, how do I get where I want to go? And in order to get where I want to go, you're going to have to give something. You're going to have to make some concessions. Even if those concessions are just something to let somebody save face, these are the ways you have to walk into things, right? So on the one hand, you'd be like, you know what, screw all that. You took it by blood, and we're saying we don't want to go through the whole blood route. We just want you, give us a portion of, like, take 4 contiguous states and give us a portion of the 4 so that it creates a little territory, and we're still American citizens and all that good stuff. That's what we would like, right? Boom. But then the problem is you're taking from someone.
Yeah, and
whoever you're taking from is going to be pissed.
Yeah, but who's to say they won't give us Wyoming, North and South Dakota? Them states don't nobody want to live in.
But that's not even the point.
I know that's not the point.
In order to get, because even to get those, you had to take it from somebody. Those states you named that don't have a lot of people in it are full of Native American reservations, because that's how they got stuck out there, right? And then the good land that's out there, the white folks are sitting on it.
Yeah, it's
200,
like
300, 400 acres.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to say, here's California, Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. Here you go. Here you go.
The reality of the matter is, and this is just my opinion, yes, land ultimately is the thing that everybody wants, because it's the way that you can actually sustain and support yourselves over time. But we're no longer in an agrarian system. Like that day is gone. Most of the land is poisoned now anyway. So unless we're going to build little colonies where we're fully self-sufficient, we grow our own food, or we raise our own cattle, and we do, so we're going to live like it's 1825, which most of us ain't built for, then we need to look more towards infrastructure and what is the way of the world now and into the future. And that is digital, that is business, that is things like that. So you need to give us things like that so we can build the infrastructure of today and tomorrow, right? We need to be in a position where we can compete in the space race. We need to be in a position where we can compete in biomedicine. We need to be in a space where we compete with green food and all this other things. That's where we need to be competing. Don't just give me some land in Alabama. Because you give it to me, I'm going to look around and be like, hell, I'm going to do with this.
But at least there's beaches in Alabama.
They ain't going to give you that part.
They'll give you Indiana because they ain't nothing here. Oh, don't start me on my own home state.
Now, y'all got snow. I don't want that.